Well, joining me today is #1 New York Times bestselling author of 21 books, 3 of which have been adapted to the big screen. The man who wrote The Flight Attendant, which I'm sure you all know is currently a must-watch miniseries on HBO Max. Chris Bohjalian, welcome to the middle.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Chris, first give me a brief synopsis of the book without giving away any of the good stuff.
Sure. The Flight Attendant is the story of Cassie Bowden, flight attendant, alcoholic hot mess, blackout drunk, who picks up the passenger in 3C on an overseas flight, wakes up the next morning in his spectacular hotel suite with the world's worst hangover, rolls over in bed, and he's dead. Someone has cut his throat, and so she does the only sensible thing. Lies to her flight crew, flies back to America, lies to the FBI, only to discover you can't run from a body you leave behind in a bed, even one on the other side of the world.
Yes, I love the plot. I love everything about it. Okay, so this book was published 2 years ago. What is it like for you now to see it not only come to life on the screen, but to do so with an all-star cast and with such a strong positive reaction?
It's a dream come true. First of all, Kaley Cuoco is brilliant.
Nailed it.
Is Cassie Bowden.
Yes.
I mean, we were first thinking about this project when Kaley first discovered the book in 2017. My heart just leapt because I've been a Big Bang Theory forever. And I knew that Kaley could bring my flight attendant to life. I knew she could be hilarious one moment and heartbreaking the next, because that is the thing about Cassie Bowden. There's a reason why she's a mess. She has more childhood trauma and more childhood demons than you can imagine. I love her as a character, and Kaley's great. The whole cast.
Agree. Yeah, Cassie is such a great heroine because she has so many flaws, but you love her immediately and you're rooting for her. And I agree. I think Kaley Cuoco was just the perfect choice. And I think that is why everyone is one of the many reasons everyone is so obsessed with the miniseries. And your daughter is in one of the episodes, correct? Yes. That's so cool. So she's an actress. Has she ever asked you to write a part that she could play, like in a potential adaptation?
No, never. But Grace Experience has been reading my work since she was 12, along with my wife, Victoria, and my editor, Jenny Jackson. She is my most important reader, and she's a great audiobook narrator and has been for years. I mean, in the Flight Attendant audiobook, she's the reader for Miranda.
I love how your family is also talented. It's like so much talent under one roof. Now, I want to ask, so a lot of your books have these very twisty plots. How do you gauge what kind of reaction it's going to get from the readers? And are you ever surprised by the level of shock value that something creates?
You know, I am. And I think there are 2 reasons for that. The first reason I'm surprised is because by the time the book comes out, I'm well into my next book.
Right.
And the second reason is that whenever I'm writing a book, I'm thinking really specifically about cause and effect. If I do this to this character, what is she going to do? What would be the natural reaction? But because so many of my characters have demons, they're just really, really a mess. I mean, my daughter once said to me, my sweet spot as a writer is seriously messed up young people. And she's right. So anyway, yes, I'm always surprised. And what I always find interesting is this: how judgmental some people can be. And that's fine. People will tell me, I loved your book, but I didn't like that character, or I didn't like this character. Okay. And I'll say to myself, Can you imagine a literature or a library where all the characters are flawless? There would be no crime and punishment. Can
It's
you
not
imagine
entertaining.
Sharp Objects? My God, Sharp Objects is one of my favorite novels of the last 5 years, and she's a mess.
Yes.
Or imagine if there was no The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I think we like, on some level, characters who are as screwed up as we are and make the same bad choices that we make every day of our lives.
100%, or even more screwed up, because it makes then our screw ups seem less, right? Makes us all feel a little bit more normal. So how much research goes into a book like The Flight Attendant, and what inspired that particular plot?
Sure. I'm going to answer the second part first. What inspired The Flight Attendant? I had just flown from Armenia to New York City, cleared customs, and I was meeting a friend for dinner at 7:30. So I just went right to the restaurant, got there at 6:30, parked my bags in the check room, the coat room, and went to the bar. And I ordered in Arak, A-R-A-K. It's a Middle Eastern alcohol, imagine weaponized ouzo.
Okay, got it.
And as I was drinking it, 3 threads came together alchemically. The first thread was just the beauty of booze. The second thread was the miracle of aviation. I'd had breakfast in Armenia. I'm having dinner in New York City. We can only do that because of flight. And the third thread was espionage. My aunt was what we called in my childhood, the Mesozoic era, a stewardess or a flight attendant. And I grew up being told she was a spy. Because, in the 1970s, when you flew internationally, you were just off radar for 2 or 3 days at a time. You weren't posting selfies in front of the Eiffel Tower. Right. You were just gone. And so I had an idea for a book. Alcoholic flight attendant wakes up next to a dead body far from home. Asked the bartender for all the scrap paper he had. And while I was waiting for my dinner companion, I wrote the first 3 pages of The Flight Attendant at that bar.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. And it's such a great concept, and it's just so entertaining. So thank you for writing it. It's amazing. No, and I highly, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for reading it.
Of course. And I highly recommend, if you haven't watched the series yet, read the book first and then watch the series. Yes. Oh, okay. So that's the new cover. How, yes, as an author, do you like when you get a new cover because of a series, or do you prefer the original cover?
I love both. And what's so interesting about this project, though, is that it was the original cover that Kaley Cuoco first saw. A blonde woman in profile, yes, who you see from her image, her life is unraveling. And so she started just reading what she could read online and said, okay, this is my next project. And one of the great karmic connections is, I told her, I always love the Big Bang Theory. Yeah. There's a scene in the novel, and it's like on page 289, but it was in the very first draft, when Cassie Bowden, flight attendant, is back in Rome. She's channel surfing and watching the Big Bang Theory in Italian.
Oh my gosh, no way. Wait, yeah. I don't even remember that part. So did she catch that?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so like.
By then she was already, really interested that Cassie Bowden is a fascinating character. I also have to give a shout out to Suzanne McCormick at Yes Norman and to Steve Yockey, the showrunner, who re-envisioned and reimagined this novel for the TV series in ways that are just freaking brilliant. Steve is a great writer. Every word that Griffin Matthews says as Shane is gold. Every moment that Zasha Mamet has as Cassie Bowden's best friend, Ani Maradian, is just a joy. I mean, and oh my God, Michelle Huisman as the lovely dead man in Cassie Bowden's head.
So
Fantastic.
good. So I agree. Fantastic. And I also read that Red Lotus is going to be coming to the screen soon. And it's the same team that did Discovery of Witches. I'm actually talking to Deb Harkness in a couple of weeks. I'm obsessed with all of those books and that series. So good.
Yep.
So how far along is that? When can we anticipate that adaptation?
Hard to say. The pandemic has obviously affected a lot.
Yeah.
But Sherry Marsh and her team, Anton and her team are great. This winter, they will hopefully line it up officially.
Okay. Well, we'll look for that. So everyone read The Flight Attendant if you haven't already, and then read Red Lotus and all of Chris's books because they're all awesome. So thank you for everything that you do. And it was so nice talking to you. For people that want to follow you, what is your Instagram handle?
Chris Bohjalian, CHRIS, B as in Bravo, OHJALIAN. It is the HJ.
Okay.
It screws everyone up. But yes,
Okay.
you can find me at Chris Bohjalian on Instagram, Twitter, Litzy, Goodreads, and Facebook.
Awesome. Chris, it was so nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley. Great to chat.